Prepare yourself for another music lesson. Larson Halleck here with another one of those standard snippets. The Streets of Cairo. Well, I haven't heard this one, you say? Oh, yes you have. It is undoubtedly something you've heard before, this little ditty written in the double harmonic major scale, the scale most stereotypically associated with the Middle East. The double harmonic major scale is characterized by taking an Ionian scale and playing a minor second and a minor sixth. The steps comprising this scale are tonic, diminished second, half step, whole step, diminished sixth, half step. See the video I did on this scale for more on that. So now that we know how it's made, we must ask, who, when, and where? Much like the Oriental Riff, see video on that, this is one that kind of existed in its alleged homeland, but was solidified as a musical stereotype, if you will, by Westerners. The earliest forebear to it, in fact being identical in rhythm, meter, and notation for the first few bars, is the French song Echoes du Temps Passe, forgive my pronunciation. France, of course, being in the midst of A, colonialism, and B, Orientalism at the time. Something that could exoticize the newly acquired Algerian colonies seemed like a great idea. The sheet music for Echoes says that this is an adaptation of an old Arabic song called Khredouja from the 1600s. There has been much research to find this song, but it doesn't exist, mostly. More on that in a bit. The first song, called The Streets of Cairo, was written by American composer and later Senator Saul Bloom. Before he got into politics, he was the entertainment coordinator for the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago. One of the attractions was a recreated mock Egyptian pavilion named A Street in Cairo, which had all the exotica one would expect, camels, odalisques, and etc. He claimed to have written the song for said occasion, improvising it in the span of 10 minutes. He didn't copyright it, which led to a flood of knockoffs and borrowings of his melody, the sheet music industry being huge at the time. Any respectable family had a piano or guitar in the house to play. The first song to be copyrighted under this name was the one written by James Thornton. The famous Irving Berlin wrote in the Harem, or Harem Nights, using the same melody, which is why you will occasionally see it under that name. The Pavilion was a smash hit, and was in fact something of a scandal during the gay 90s, especially due to the hysterical moral guardians, like Anthony Comstock, trying to ban it. Monocles were popping off like you wouldn't believe from seeing the undulations of these women. While popular, it caused the style of dance to be seen as somewhat erotic, which was never quite the intention, and it became performed explicitly in burlesques and strip clubs, a stigma that practitioners of the dance are still fighting to this day. So is this song found at all in the Middle East? Apparently yes. Researchers have found that, at least in Iraq, the melody did exist decades before the 1857 writing of the French song I mentioned previously. Namely, researchers found in the 1960s a very old woman played the melody on the oud and said that her grandmother taught it to her when she was young, which would mean that the grandmother learned it sometime in the mid-19th century, but has not been found in other nations. As for where Saul Bloom heard it, history has not recorded it as such. Do I even need to name where you can find this one? In addition to the numerous Tin Pan Alley popular songs mentioned before, we can find this one in movies, cartoons,
Here, take care of the rest.
and video games.
A great slam and then some. You're up.
Not to mention the numerous playground variations of the song that we all heard in our childhood. So there it is. You probably wouldn't actually do Middle Eastern dance to this song, but it's worth a listen nonetheless. I'm Larson Halleck.
Marvelous! Marvelous! Enough! I grow weary of your sexually suggestive dancing. Bring me my ranch dressing hose!
Homer, wake up! The car's filling with...
I know! Ranch dressing!
And now, a word from our sponsors. Hello, are you a fan of Larson Halleck and the Barbaric Gentleman? Of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Would you like to help the channel grow? Would you like to help me out? If so, here's how you can. You can go to patreon.com/LarsonHalleck and join the ranks of these illustrious heroes. You can also go to www.paypal.me/LarsonHalleck to also donate some money. You can also buy my book. The Patreon, the PayPal, and the link to my book are all found in the video description. You can also follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. I no longer advertise my Gab because Gab sucks. Otherwise, enjoy, keep watching the videos, and spread the word.